In the shadowy core of Los Angeles, California, a monolith of ostentation and splendor ominously sprouted in the twilight era of the 1920s. This signaled the chilling inception of the Cecil Hotel. Once a beacon of affluence, the Cecil Hotel was envisioned as a haven for the rich, an enigmatic force destined to draw tourists and businessmen, tempting them to luxuriate in the decadent charm of the Roaring Twenties. Crafted with an Art Deco facade and lavish interiors, its design aimed not just to captivate, but to entrap, to spin a web of opulence. The genesis of the Cecil Hotel was steered by audacious dreams and elaborate stratagems. The founders aspired to construct a spectacle that would eclipse the shimmering allure of Los Angeles. Amidst an economic upsurge, dreams stretched as wide as the boundless sky, leading to the building of the Cecil, a beacon of affluence in a city burgeoning into the tea of the American dream. However, as the 20s surrendered to the 30s, the tide turned, forebodingly. The Great Depression struck like a lightning bolt, metamorphosing the face of America. The once bustling corridors of Cecil now echoed with the hushed whispers of a different class of patrons. The once fortress of prosperity now turned into a shelter, housing long-term residents branded by the stigma of misfortune. The previously luxurious suites became the last resort for those seeking refuge. Driven by desperation to endure the economic whirlwind, the Cecil Hotel begrudgingly welcomed a new crowd. The glamour of the 20s was devoured by the grim reality of the Great Depression. The lighthouse of luxury was replaced with a sanctuary for the destitute. As the Great Depression stretched its long, sinister shadow across the nation, the Cecil Hotel began its infamous flirtation with a darker fate, unwittingly setting the stage for its spectral future. As the years rolled on, the Cecil Hotel's reputation started to tarnish, its glimmering facade hiding a growing darkness. In the early 1930s, the Cecil Hotel bore witness to its first documented death, marking the onset of a chilling era. W.K. Norton, a young man from Manhattan Beach, was found lifeless in his room, a victim of a self-inflicted poisoning. This tragic incident was to be the first of many, as the hotel's history unfolded in a gruesome tableau of deaths. As the decades passed, a grim pattern began to emerge. The Cecil Hotel's grand halls and opulent rooms became the backdrop for an increasing number of suicides. The stories varied, but the ending was always the same: a life cut short in the confines of this cursed establishment. Jumpers from high windows, poisonings, and even a self-inflicted gunshot wound, the hotel seemed to echo with the silent screams of its doomed guests. But the Cecil's dark history didn't stop at suicides. It was also the stage for a series of homicides that sent shivers down the spine of the city. The most infamous of these was the murder of Pigeon Goldie Osgood, a well-known and loved resident of the hotel, found brutally slain in her room in 1964. The hotel also became a sanctuary for the city's criminal underbelly. It was a haven for drug dealers, thieves, and even infamous serial killers. The notorious Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, was rumored to have stayed at the Cecil during his murderous rampage in the mid-80s. The Cecil Hotel, once a symbol of hope and prosperity, was now a magnet for tragedy and crime. Its ornate architecture and luxurious interiors a stark contrast to the horror that unfolded within its walls. The Cecil's reputation was stained with each passing year, each new headline adding another layer to its dark legacy. The Cecil Hotel was no longer a beacon of grandeur, but a hotbed of tragedy and crime. The Cecil Hotel's reputation took a darker turn as it became a haven for infamous figures. As the years rolled on, the Cecil Hotel's doors opened to an array of guests, some of whom were as sinister as the stories that shroud this establishment. Two such guests were the notorious serial killers, Richard Ramirez and Jack Unterweger. Their presence not only added a layer of dread to the Cecil Hotel's atmosphere, but also contributed to its cursed reputation. Richard Ramirez, better known as the Night Stalker, was a resident of the Cecil Hotel during his reign of terror in the mid-80s. He would return to the hotel after his gruesome exploits, blending in effortlessly with the other guests, unnoticed and unchallenged. His association with the Cecil Hotel sent chills down the spines of those who dared to step foot within its walls, further amplifying the hotel's infamous reputation. Several years later, in the early 90s, the Cecil Hotel played host to yet another serial killer. Jack Unterweger. An Austrian journalist turned murderer, Unterweger was drawn to the Cecil Hotel reportedly because of its connection to Ramirez. While staying there, he continued his horrifying crimes, leaving a trail of victims that spanned continents, from Europe to America. His time at the Cecil Hotel added another chapter to the hotel's dark narrative, reinforcing its reputation as a magnet for malevolent entities. These men, both terrifying in their own right, became part of the Cecil Hotel's eerie lore. Their ghastly deeds, carried out under the hotel's roof, solidified its status as a dwelling of dread. The Cecil Hotel, once a beacon of hope and prosperity, had transformed into a refuge for the sinister, a sanctuary for the malevolent, and a symbol of horror. These notorious figures left an indelible mark on the Cecil Hotel, cementing its reputation as America's most cursed hotel. In 2013, the Cecil Hotel found itself in the global spotlight due to the chilling disappearance of Canadian tourist Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old student from Vancouver, checked into the Cecil Hotel in January of 2013. However, her stay at the hotel would soon turn into a haunting tale that would grip the world. On January 31st, Elisa was reported missing. The last known sighting of her was in the hotel's elevator, captured on a surveillance camera. Her behavior in the footage was unusual and erratic, causing many to speculate about what might have happened to her. For weeks, guests at the Cecil complained of low water pressure and a strange taste in the water. The complaints led to a gruesome discovery. Elisa Lam's body was found in one of the hotel's rooftop water tanks. The circumstances surrounding her death were as murky as the water in which she was found. The autopsy report ruled her death as accidental drowning, but many questions remained unanswered. The discovery of Elisa's body led to a wave of theories. Some speculated about the possibility of a murder, pointing to the difficulty of accessing the hotel's rooftop and the heavy lids of the water tanks. Others believed her death was the result of a psychotic episode, citing her diagnosed bipolar disorder. A few even suggested supernatural involvement, drawing parallels between Elisa's case and the morbid history of the Cecil Hotel. The case of Elisa Lam is a chilling reminder of the Cecil Hotel's dark past. Her untimely demise adds to the hotel's long list of tragedies. Despite the official conclusion of her death being accidental, the eerie circumstances surrounding it have led many to believe that there is more to the story than what meets the eye. Elisa Lam's tragic end further fueled the Cecil Hotel's cursed reputation. After a century filled with tragedy and horror, the Cecil Hotel stands today as a chilling reminder of its past. No longer the bustling hub of the Roaring Twenties, nor the nightmarish haven of the mid-20th century, the Cecil has tried to shake off its haunted reputation. In recent years, the hotel underwent a rebranding, changing its name to Stay on Main, an attempt to distance itself from the chilling tales that have formed its legacy. Yet, despite the fresh coat of paint and the new name, the Cecil's past refuses to remain buried. The echoes of its dark history are still heard in the halls. The stories of its past occupants, from the infamous to the unfortunate, continue to captivate the curiosity of the public. The Cecil Hotel's grim reputation was brought back to the forefront with the release of the Netflix documentary Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel in 2021. The documentary explored the tragic case of Elisa Lam, a Canadian tourist who mysteriously disappeared during her stay at the Cecil, only to be found in the hotel's water tank weeks later. The documentary reignited the public's fascination with the Cecil, drawing a new wave of attention to the hotel's dark past. Today, the Cecil Hotel stands as an eerie monument, its shadowy silhouette a stark reminder of its history. The fascination, the fear, the stories, they all endure. The Cecil's doors may be closed, but the tales of what happened behind them are far from forgotten. From ghost hunters to true crime enthusiasts, the Cecil continues to draw in those who are intrigued by the macabre. The Cecil Hotel, with its dark past and enduring mystery, remains a haunting presence in the heart of Los Angeles.